Not even Ferrari's boss, Fred Vasseur, could defend the strategic disaster that took place in Melbourne. And do you know why? Because there is simply no defense. Ferrari had a real chance to achieve a great result, but as has been the rule in recent years, they tripped over themselves. While Hamilton and Leclerc were in good positions, P6 and P8, ready to attack as soon as the rain arrived, Ferrari hesitated. While rivals reacted immediately, the Scuderia stood still, betting on a wait-and-see approach. And what happened? That's right, they lost everything. Fred Vasseur was honest and admitted, "We made the wrong call." No kidding, Fred. It's not just that Ferrari lost a good result. They handed it to their rivals on a silver platter. This is not just a strategy error, it's a worrying pattern. And if we, the fans, are frustrated, imagine how the drivers feel. If there is one thing we know about Lewis Hamilton, it's that he thrives in chaos. When a race turns into a spectacle of unpredictability, he always finds a way to come out on top. And for a moment, it looked like that would be the case in Melbourne. The rain started falling, and Hamilton, who stayed out while others pitted, suddenly found himself leading the race. Yes, in P1. If Ferrari had nailed the timing of the switch to intermediates, he could have left Australia with a podium or even a victory. But no, they took too long to react, and when they finally did something, it was already too late. The safety car came out, the track turned into an ice rink, and Hamilton dropped out of contention. His radio message said it all. "We missed a big opportunity." The Brit didn't join Ferrari to fight for 10th place. He came to win. And if the team keeps making these mistakes, how long before he starts making his own strategy calls over the radio? If Ferrari can't make the right decisions, Hamilton might as well take matters into his own hands. And let's be honest, it would be hard for him to do worse than what the team did on Sunday. Now, if you think Hamilton was frustrated, imagine how Charles Leclerc felt. He had a front row seat to yet another Ferrari strategy disaster, except this time, he was an active participant in the theater of the absurd. Did he make a mistake? Yes. The Monegasque himself admitted that his spin at turn 11 cost him a few valuable positions. But unlike Ferrari, he recovered. He fought his way back to a decent position and could have saved his race if the team had made the right decision at the right time. But once again, Ferrari happened. Like Hamilton, Leclerc stayed out too long on the wrong tires, and by the time Ferrari finally reacted, it was too late. "We didn't make the right choice," Leclerc admitted after the race. "Oh, Charles, we know. The problem is that this keeps happening." The Stes F25 is not a bad car. Far from it. In practice, it showed it has speed, but speed without strategic intelligence is useless. And once again, Ferrari proved that they still don't know how to make decisions under pressure. Ferrari's biggest problem is not a lack of performance. It's a lack of agility. Always one lap too late. Always a decision after everyone else. Always copying rivals instead of anticipating their moves. And fans are already tired of hearing the same old speech. We have potential, we just need to execute better. How long can this remain just an excuse? For comparison, Red Bull and McLaren reacted to the rain within seconds. Even Mercedes, which often hesitates, was quicker than Ferrari. Why can't the Scuderia learn? Is it a problem with internal communication? A lack of trust in strategy? Or simply a fear of making the wrong call, and ironically making the worst call instead? Leclerc has been loyal to Ferrari since 2019. He renewed his contract, believed in the project, and trusted the team. But how long will that patience last? What happens when he realizes that no matter how fast he is, Ferrari will always find a way to throw away his chances? It's something we need to keep an eye on. At least Fred Vasseur admitted that they got the strategy wrong and should have pitted Hamilton and Leclerc at the same time as Verstappen. But that honesty doesn't change the result. Ferrari had a real chance to fight for a podium, maybe even a win. Instead, they threw it all away. And saying the car has more to offer is not enough. What matters is turning that performance into concrete results. Anyone who has followed F1 long enough has seen this film before. Ferrari looks quick on Fridays, but when it really counts, everything falls apart. This is not a car problem, it's a mentality problem. If Ferrari truly wants to fight for the championship this year, this cannot happen again. The grid is more competitive than ever. Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, no one will wait for Ferrari to sort out their mistakes. If they keep throwing away opportunities, they'll be out of the title fight before we even reach the halfway point of the season. Now, the next chance for redemption comes in China. Ferrari can prove that Melbourne was a one-off disaster, or they can repeat the same mistakes and frustrate their fans even more. But one thing is certain, there is no more room for errors. If it rains, they need to react immediately. If Hamilton or Leclerc suggests a pit stop, Ferrari needs to listen right away, not 3 laps later. So Ferrari fans, what do you think? Will the Scuderia learn from their mistakes, or will we be having this same discussion after the Chinese Grand Prix? If you were Ferrari's strategy chief, what would you do differently? Let us know in the comments. Charles Leclerc left the race frustrated and admitted, "The car lacks pace." But what really happened to Scuderia Ferrari? And worse, could this be a sign that Ferrari is already out of the 2025 title fight? Before the season started, Ferrari seemed ready to challenge Verstappen, but the Australian GP shattered that illusion. The car was slow, the strategy failed, and to make things even worse, Leclerc had a bizarre problem inside the cockpit. But this is just the beginning. There's a bigger issue that no one is talking about. Mercedes had a rough weekend, but Ferrari was even worse. While Red Bull dominated and McLaren impressed, Leclerc and Hamilton were stuck battling in the midfield like a second-tier team. How did this happen? And more importantly, could things get even worse? If Ferrari doesn't fix this issue now, their season could be over before we even reach the halfway point. Can the Scuderia bounce back in China? Or is the title dream already gone? Here at Formula One News, we analyze everything that happened and what to expect from Ferrari in the next races. So leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into what's happening with the Maranello team. And now tell us, does Ferrari still have a chance, or is the title fight already over? Comment below. The Australian GP was brutal reality check for Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris and Max Verstappen dominated the race. Fad no pace to fight. Is Ferrari already out of the title fight? Stay until the end to find out. If you want to understand what went wrong and what to expect from Ferrari at the Chinese GP, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because here at Formula One News, you get all the F1 insights without the fluff. And of course, leave a like if you want more content like this. Despite some pre-race optimism, Leclerc and Hamilton were nowhere near competitive in Australia. Leclerc finished only P8, while Hamilton dropped to P10 after a disastrous strategy call from the team. And the worst part? Ferrari simply didn't have the pace to challenge McLaren and Red Bull. Leclerc didn't hold back his frustration after the race. Regarding today, I don't think we learned anything more than we already knew yesterday. I mean, today's conditions were very particular, so it's hard to take much from it. But we were definitely way too slow compared to McLaren and Max and Verstappen. The reality? Ferrari never had a chance against their main rivals. And let's be honest, this has been happening for years. Can the Scuderia still bounce back? As if poor performance wasn't bad enough, Leclerc also had to deal with an unexpected problem: a water leak inside his car. During the race, Leclerc reported on the team radio that his seat was completely soaked. Ferrari's engineer confirmed the issue, but at the end of the day, it didn't change the fact that the SF25 was simply not competitive at any point in the race. McLaren and Red Bull were way faster. There's a lot of work to be done. Why, especially in these conditions, I don't know yet, but this has been a weakness for us for years. I think we have always been quite inconsistent whenever it rains. Leclerc. Ferrari has always struggled in wet conditions, and this has become a chronic issue. How does the team expect to fight for championships if they can't get the car right in all scenarios? Before the season started, Ferrari was seen as Red Bull's biggest challenger, but what we saw in Australia shattered that illusion. The car wasn't fast in the rain, the strategy didn't work, and the Scuderia seemed stuck in the same cycle of mistakes as always. But can Ferrari recover in China, or is this tough start already a warning for the rest of the season? Leave your comment. Can Ferrari still recover, or is the title dream already over? Subscribe to Formula One News and turn on notifications so you don't miss any F1 updates.